people are still scared to talk about mental
Now,
health.
mental health, that's one of those things that it does show up physically in some regard, but do we take that same action when we feel something emotionally? But I hope the more we have these conversations, people will go and check on the heartache.
No matter who does what in this town, you always see the good in them.
Lady Mars Bosch is here.
These bottles are going to go down to 16 ounces.
But it's about what is our potential.
Right.
And our potential, we can take it up 2 notches.
You don't come across women who feel threatened by you.
That's their problem.
Showcasing the hidden gems and more. Ezzy Spotlight. Very informative and entertaining.
The Real Goddess is available on Amazon. Get your copy today.
Well, up yo, so back in the day, I used to be a big time drinker, but not anymore. Why? That's because I'm always working and I'm always exhausted. But guess what? Rum Shaker has solved the problem. Listen, it is the ultimate premium cocktail for drinkers and non-drinkers like myself. It's the last bottle I brought to the crib, and guess what? It's the first to almost finish. There you go. So guess what? Make sure you follow them on all social medias at Rum Shaker, alright? Or visit the website at rumshaker.com. You will not regret it. Chill. Rum Shaker, y'all. Yeah, we'll get it right now. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of our monthly mental health series. And I got to give my panel a round of applause because we're here. We're a little bit behind schedule, but nonetheless, guys, it's better late than never. And of course, guys, this is an all-important conversation, especially for the fellas, all right? So all of the men, if you've never taken part in this discussion in the past, we invite you to come on in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in, because we're talking about men's mental health, all right? And of course, the ladies, they're here to help us, right, Patrice and Sameka?
We are outnumbered today, so the first time ever.
I know. I think we can still hold it down and maybe contribute some, but it's okay.
Loving it.
Well, I feel good because I'm finally not by myself. But nonetheless, let me just go ahead and introduce the gentleman this time. Of course, Mr. Nathaniel Ellis. Go ahead and give us a little bit about your background, sir.
Certainly. I am a licensed professional counselor here in the state of Georgia and for the state of California. I'm also a certified anger management specialist, and I am a certified sex-informed therapist practitioner as well. I do have a practice in Tucker, Georgia, and I am extremely passionate about mental health awareness, and especially in the Black community, and also especially for men, bringing awareness to men's mental health. So that's a little bit about my background. I also am an adjunct professor for a college, so I do teach master's level courses for counselors who are coming up in the field, getting ready to enter into the real world doing counseling.
Well, I want to welcome you to the Ezzy Spotlight Live monthly mental health podcast. Since you cover so many grounds, I'm going to have to be the first to tell you, well, we need you back on the show again, like on a regular, because you got a lot to offer. All right. Of course, we're going to introduce Mr. Mickey Hill. Is it? Mackay Hill. All right. This is your turn now to tell us about yourself, sir.
Well, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. I am Mackay Hill. I'm a 25-year-old social entrepreneur, originally from Sicklerville, New Jersey, but had the opportunity to live across different places across the United States as well as overseas that really, shape my perspective on life and just the world in general. I have a background in public health. I received my master's in public health at Emory University, the Rollins School of Public Health here in Atlanta, Georgia. I got my undergraduate degree at North Carolina A&T State University. Currently working in the media and communications space as well, but I also operate a nonprofit organization called the Better Days Project, which focuses on providing STEAM-based mental health solutions to BIPOC youth and young adults. So excited to see where the conversation goes today, and thank you again.
Man, I want to welcome you, Mr. Mackay, because guess what? You two have a great background, and the next invitation goes out to you because you're here in Georgia. I'm in Georgia as well. So whatever we can do to help you with everything that you got going on, please, we need you back on this conversation as well on a regular basis. So this might be the first of many appearances from you gentlemen here on the SE Spotlight podcast.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Shout out to Tri-State area too. South Jersey though is where Mackay is from.
All right. So, Sameka, do you? I'll let you take it away to get started. Anything you want to say first?
Well, number one, thank you both. And I'm so excited as you were introducing yourself and sharing a little bit more. I'm already jotting things down because I'm like, oh yeah, that's important. Oh, that's important. Both of you have named some key things that come up in the, I would say in the male culture and the population that connects to mental health on multiple levels. So I see the nonprofit background, Better Days Project. I'm super excited to hear more about that. And then we will not end this conversation without tapping into Mr. Nathaniel and learning more about that anger management, because that is something that comes up a lot with men when you have men that experience a variety of emotions. So real quick, can you just tell us a little bit more about the Better Days Project?
Yeah, the Better Days Project is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And what we're doing is really trying to reshape how people view, prioritize, and see mental health, specifically in our community, right? For me, growing up, I didn't really have the space and opportunity to be expressive, especially as Black men. We're told that expressing our emotions is a woman thing, right? But what I learned on my journey, that real men are expressive, real men communicate, real men feel their feelings. So what we're doing is really trying to change that narrative around how mental health is perceived, specifically in our community. And we're approaching it from so many different ways, right? Because mental health shows up in our everyday. And to me, mental health is, about how you view yourself as well as how you view the world, right? And having a sound mind. And that contributes to how can you show up to the world and give to the world. So a lot of the things that we've been doing is workshops, in-person workshops, where we're bringing people together in the community, inviting experts out to come and lead sessions and talk to our community about certain things that may be going on in the community. We're also showing up on digital spaces as well through podcasts, hosting live stream conversations like that, and creating content. And another thing is exploring technology a little bit, right? AI is emerging. So we're exploring that a little bit and how that can be a tool for individuals as well that may not be comfortable with going to therapy, right? Technology is advancing at a rapid pace. So we are integrating that into all levels as well. So we're covering mental health on so many different bases, and I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to kind of continue to build and grow with you all here in this space and see how we can continue to collaborate and push the needle forward in the mental health space.
Good stuff. And of course, guys, before we even continue to move forward, shout out to Stacy. Stacy is one of our team members. She's based in Jamaica, and she was not able to make it on the show today. So she's on the chat right now. She's watching us live from Jamaica as well. So Stacy, you take care, and of course, you're always welcome to join the conversation in the chat room as well. All right.
Shout out to Jamaica, by the way. I grew up in Kingston for a little bit, so shout out to you all.
Okay. She would have loved to be here with you, bro.
Mackay, you said something. You mentioned how sometimes men are not expected to show emotion, and you also mentioned something about opportunities to shape the way men take care of themselves on a daily basis. And that was a perfect example of how one could kind of look at their mental health, right? When we start to look at that needle engage, how do we tell when we're at that point that we need additional support? For men, it might be different than it is for women. So the fact that you mentioned being able to show up, being able to do things on a daily basis, I imagine that's a telltale sign. I say that because I heard something. I was listening to a spoken word piece, right? And it was laid over Google Music. So I'm a fan of music. I'm a fan of multiple cultures. And one of the statements that was said, it was talking about therapy, and it was saying, we don't have time to sit in a therapist's office. We got to go to work and provide for our family. And it just kind of stuck with me in regard to how men may see the world, right? We talk about women and the many hats, but do you encounter a lot of men who feel like they don't have the privilege or the space or the option to go and take care of their mental health because they have to provide?
Yeah, I agree. I think oftentimes people are so caught up in just trying to survive the day to day. I don't have any kids, but I can only imagine, for my father, as well, just like that pressure, because my mother passed away at a young age. So a single parent as well, trying to raise two young men, it could be a lot of pressure. So sometimes he didn't even get the chance to process and deal with the passing of my mother or the passing of his parents and traumas that he may have dealt with, because it's like he has other responsibilities and he's still trying to provide for us. So sometimes they are so caught up in just trying to survive the day to day that they forget a lot of the things that they need to do in order to show up as their best selves. And I think when we talk about mental health, it's like, for me now, it's how do we continue to show grace to these people and let them know that it's okay. This is a part of the process. You expressing yourself and taking care of yourself does not take away from the fact that you are a man.
This right now, and you guys are touching, and I get very passionate when certain things are said, certain keywords and certain statements are made, because me growing up as a young man as well, and the responsibilities I had at a very young age, was a lot. For example, what you just said, Makai, your dad had to raise two boys as a single dad, what I'm saying? And this would have been probably his first experience dealing with this, and the journey he had to go through to make sure that he was providing the right sort of, items and the right atmosphere and the right environment for you guys, took a toll on him. As for me, I took the responsibility as a teenager right out of the high school to care for my mom and my two sisters. And I never understood how it would affect me mentally, because, I always look at my peers and said, as teenagers, they're living a life where, they can go to work, and whatever monies they make, they could actually, enjoy themselves. You're a young man, you can buy what you want, you can do what you can go where you want and all of the stuff. But for me, my responsibility was to make sure that the bills were paid, there was food on the table, there were clothes on my sister's back, and everything else. At that age, I didn't have the opportunity to just buy what I want. I never really had an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So the mental responsibility, the mental toll it can take on any young man for, having to carry those responsibilities can definitely be detrimental for the growth.
Yeah.
And of course, guys, you can jump on in the conversation, not just Mr. Makai.
I think you raised a great point with that. And, what I've been realizing too is that when we define manhood, I think society has kind of put this notion that men are solely financial providers in a way. But, when I think of providing, I think financially, that's the least important part, because I think, my dad was, thinking that he's doing certain things because he's providing, he's putting that roof over our head, but other things were getting neglected, right? The emotional side of it, the mental side of it, right? Pouring into us that way. And that can impact a child's mental health in the way that we do, because we don't have that outlet to express. It's like we're seen, but we're not heard.
Right.
What do you know about mental health? What are you talking about? You can't, so it's things like that also that you're experiencing. And for me, as I've gotten older, I've learned to show grace to my father and I respect him a lot more, but it's like I show grace because I understand that is all that you know. How you're raising me is because that's how you were raised. And you just sometimes, you know, you didn't know no better, and that's okay. But now it's on me to make sure that I'm doing the internal work, the healing, so I don't pass this on to my children when I do have them.
This is some deep stuff, guys. Once again, if you're just joining us here live, of course, this is we talk about men's mental health, and of course, we invite you guys to join us in the chat room. Of course, you can give us a call if you want to ask a question or make a comment. The telephone number is 404-910-2191. That's 404-910-2191. But of course, once again, we invite all of you guys to join the conversations. We talk about men's mental health. Patrice, I haven't heard from you yet. Come on.
Oh, I'm taking it all in, and I'm waiting to hear from Mr. Nathaniel, who I know as Nate. I'm just going to put that out there because, you know, he's also raising 2 boys. And so I am just also, you know, I can identify with everything that Makai said. Sometimes, and I'm going to get to you, Nate, but, you know, when Sameka mentioned the work aspect, I also saw an article that stated that men actually evaded the conversation by using work and like sports, playing sports, or I have to work. They used that as the way to not have a conversation, not have time to communicate, and so on. So I guess that it does go both ways, you know. Where yes, it does take priority, and that's all that they can be hyper focused on, or I'm going to use this as a way not to have the difficult conversations. But Nate, you know, without putting anybody's business out there, I'd like to know what you have experienced in your practice, and you know what it's like for you, and also raising 2 boys.
Sure. You know, listening first, Makai, I'm so elated for you to be such a young man and doing the work that you do. So thank you so much for what you do in the community for men. That is absolutely awesome. Just taking kind of both of those points together, yours, Patrice, and yours, Makai. I am very big on etiology. And when we think about the etiology of actual men and their mental health, men, and Makai was alluding to this, we have to look at socialization, right? How we socialize. And part of that socialization was, right, men are the worldly figures. They go out, they work, they make the money, they bring the money home, and they're kind of hands off. And as you were talking about this is what your dad knew. Well, this has been the social construct of, especially in Western culture for years, that and moms take care of the kids and so on and so forth. And so part of really getting men more active in mental health is really understanding, like, breaking away from some of these social constructs, right? We're no longer in the 40s and 30s and 50s where women couldn't have a job and women were the only people responsible or are responsible for the emotional upbringing of children. When we look at the Black community, it gets even worse, right? Because and there's this book by Dr. Joy DeGruy called Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder. And she really talks about how we as Black people really have some extremely toxic behaviors that really carry over from slavery, right? So bringing it to the present, when we think about or look at men, look at the socialization, and then Black men look at the challenges that we had in the Black community, we didn't have time to cry. We didn't have time to get help. Like we had to keep things going. We had to keep things moving. And so sometimes I often feel like I tell some of my male clients this, is that we are still operating off a roadmap. It's like, I don't know if you remember, like cars used to have the GPS in the car itself, and you used to have to like get a new disc. Otherwise, you know, you could be driving somewhere and that street no longer exists, or new streets exist. Like, we're not updating our maps. We are still operating off of a map. And so part of what is really necessary and like raising men is to provide permission to give Black men a voice. And Patrice, knowing I have two boys, I'm very, very intentional about making sure that they're understood, that they're heard, that they're not shut down when they cry, right? But that they understand there's a time to cry, and then there's a time like, I don't know about crying about this, but you know what? If you feel like you need to cry about this, I need you to go over here in this space and really kind of reflect on what's going on with you, as opposed to shutting it down. And this is where that anger management comes in. Guess what? Men have anger problems because that is the emotion that they won't be criticized for having. Always be angry, right? No one's going to criticize you. No one's going to think you're less of a boy when you're a young boy. Nobody's going to think you're less of a man. If you're angry, it's almost as if anger is the only emotion that is acceptable, right?
It's so, I'm just thinking about what you're saying, Professor Nate, because I've encountered men who have asked for a female clinician because they experience emotions other than anger, and they would feel that they didn't have the permission, they didn't have the level of safety to be able to express those emotions in front of a male therapist. So they only know what their experience is, right? We accept people where they are and we honor what their needs are. But the fact that you said that, I'm like, that is so true. And I imagine sometimes it can be a bit challenging to invite someone to attempt to experience something different and create that space, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And men can feel very intimidated from an emotional space. I forgot who it was. It might have been Makai or Patrice. I can remember who mentioned excuses, right? Like, I don't have the time. I'm working, right? But a big part of that is I don't know what to expect. I don't know anything about this. Like, imagine somebody saying, "Hey, you have a job as a therapist tomorrow." That's scary. Like, you've never done any. You don't have the training. You don't have the logistics to work as a therapist, right? So that can be very daunting, right? Like, oftentimes men don't feel like they have even just the beginner tools to go in, like expression, and or, as you stated, feeling like, well, let me get a female because I don't know that I want to do this in front of a male. The flip side of this coin, though, is that some men do want men and can't find them, right? Like, this is a very female-dominated industry, and I can tell you, I've worked in 1, 2, 3, at least 4 different settings, 4 or 5 different settings, and I have generally been one of the only men on staff. And the only other time I wasn't the only man, I was the only Black man on staff. So there's the flip side of that as well, right? Like, well, if I want, maybe I want to see a male who I feel like I can, that understands me, they'll know what I'm going through. Can't find it.
So there's a term in public health called cultural competency. And I think that's so important when we talk about mental health. It's like, people want to be able to confide in someone that they can relate to, that looks like them. And I think that's the important piece that sometimes is missing, that you were kind of alluding to. Like, sometimes you may be the only Black male in the room, and sometimes it's hard to find that access to that is sometimes not available.
Absolutely. And it's difficult when I get the phone calls and I'm full, I'm overbooked, and my Rolodex to send them to another Black male is so paper thin. So it does help, right? That cultural competency piece is really, really important, at least in the present, for men to come in and get help.
All right.
Wow. This is such a rich conversation. And here and there, I've been like glancing down, and I'm sending this to people. I'm sending this to men in my contact list, because we talk about mental health all the time. And there is something to being able to have that connectedness. I could talk till I'm blue in the face, but I can never say that I've walked in the shoes of a young man, of an older man, of a father or brother. That's not my lived experience. So when we have an opportunity to hear from people, it's really just a treasure. And again, I can't thank you both enough for coming and sharing this space with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta give the man a round of applause, because this conversation is so needed. And of course, my mind over here is going so crazy, because we can have this conversation for hours, because I got so much to say. For example, coming from a man as well, people always tell me, Ezzy, you're a great dad. You do a phenomenal job with your son, and all of this stuff. And I remembered many years ago, of course, I wasn't raised with my father, and he and I was having this conversation, and he tried to take credit for the man that I am today, in the sense that, well, you got this from me, man. You inherited this from me. And I had to stop him in his tracks real fast. And I said to him, hey, man, the father that I am today, you couldn't come close to being that kind of man. No, you didn't teach me what I know. So I had to learn this from someplace. So you can't take credit for who I am as a father, because you're nowhere close to being that. Not even for your grandkids. How to keep it real.
Ezzy, you so wrong for that. But
I'm just saying.
That transparency is so important, though.
Yes, yeah, no, a message, because I know both Ezzy and Nate as dads, and both of y'all, and I've said so to both of you as well. Thank you for the job that you're doing, because from outside looking in, I can see the care, the nurture, the training that you've imparted. And Makai, when you get there, I'm sure that you're going to be phenomenal as well.
Yes.
But and things are changing, which is good. We have to definitely keep the conversations going. And something that Makai mentioned, which is connecting from different angles. So whether it is social media, because it is what it is, and at times you won't get somebody to come in and talk to you, but how else can we reach out to them and let them know that it is okay? Nate spoke about too, kind of giving permission, but also almost a practice, like how do I communicate? Because if anger is the only thing that I have inherited from generations past, and I don't want to continue doing that, because it's really not serving the purpose, right, of just being angry. So what are we doing to help men then to communicate? What are the workshops? What are the tools that they do have to say, yes, I can communicate or express my feelings, my emotions in a different manner other than anger? So are we speaking to them on a one-on-one basis? Is that what they're experiencing in therapy? Or what if you're not going to therapy? What do we do?
I can jump in really quickly. I think we continue to create spaces like what we're doing right here, right now. I firmly believe that storytelling is very, very powerful. And sometimes the best teacher is other people's experiences. And the way that we normalize mental health is by having conversations that we're doing right here, right now.
Hold on, say that one more time. Say that one more time.
The way that we normalize mental health is by continuing to have conversations that we're doing right here, right now, right? By having in these spaces, because it's not normalized in our community. It's more so a taboo. So by us talking about it in this light, like, hey, mental health shows up in our everyday. It's in our day to day, right? And it's not. So I think people get it wrong, right? Because there's different layers to it, right? There's mental illness, which is a totally different thing. Then you have mental health, and then it's mental wellness. So it's like, I think a lot of education too is where we have to start. And it's like, once people become aware, then we can start to educate. And how do we bring awareness to things now in this age? How do we meet people where they are? Let's do this conversations, like continue to build on that. And that would be my message. And that's kind of the mission that I'm on, is trying to engage people through stories, through conversations, and showing up like that.
I think society have created an environment where if you're not doing the other stuff other than talking and connecting, men don't feel safe or feel important enough to have these conversations. And like you said, having platforms like these to give people that comfort level to say, okay, you know what, this is an informal conversation that they can actually speak to us or speak with us about. And even if not about yourself, but you can relate to someone else's experiences or someone that you've experienced being around, to have these dialogues, it makes a big difference. Because for the most part, like Patrice says, we can make excuses whether or not we're gonna go work extremely hard, or the regular thing guys do, go drinking to
Yeah.
pacify the internal situation that we're currently experiencing, rather than having a conversation. See, I love having those conversations.
Hmm.
Going to drink and having a good time can just put a band-aid on on what you're currently experiencing. But talking about it is okay. I have no problem expressing what I feel. Now, some people may get offended, but heck, I'm just saying, you got to keep it real, right?
I have a quick question for you, gentlemen. Do you feel supported by women? Like, I always figure if you go speak to a guy about your problems, he's like, dude, I can't help you. Or he may say, don't be a punk, a wimp, or whatever it is. But do you feel as if the women are saying the same thing? Like, don't be a punk, don't be a wimp, man up, that type of stuff.
I think there's some mixed messaging around that, right? Especially when we, again, going back to social construct, socialization. One of the book ideas that I had that I still have not been able to get onto paperback is, oftentimes women want the very men that they're not raising, right? They want these boys who are, you're not classed on to mom, that you're this man's man, but then they're not raising their boys in that same way. And it's like the biggest juxtaposition ever. It's like, oh, well, are you raising the same man that you want to have, that you want to get in your life, right? And so Patrice, when you asked that was the first thing I thought about, right? Was, hey, there are women who look at men in this very socialized light as well, right? That what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be crying, what they shouldn't be sad. So there is some of that as well. However, the flip side of that is, I think men still feel probably feel a bit more vulnerable with women because of the also more emotional nature of women. And so maybe they feel a bit more at ease opening up to women, if we look at it through the lens of a spectrum, that the spectrum isn't as high for women as it is for men when it comes to the possibility of being shamed or ridiculed.
I think, and in addition to that, I think as men, we have to take more responsibility for our actions. And I'm saying this to say, for example, domestic abuse. Now, a lot of that happens from a men's side. No, don't get me wrong. We get women who abuses men as well, but a lot of men abuse women, and then you have kids growing up in the same household. Now, not leading by example can actually set a trend for this young man that you're raising, making it think that it's okay to be abusive to a woman. So I think also taking the responsibility as a man, try to make sure that your son or your daughter don't see these things as they grow older. It's our responsibility to say, let's take a different approach. If the relationship is not working, let's move on from that. So I think, again, as men, we have to take responsibility for our actions.
That kind of accountability, just in general, I find, at least in the men I work with, can be very difficult. And I also find that to be also part of the mental illness, if you will, right? Like there are multiple diagnoses I can provide for that type of thinking. But ultimately, there is just room for accountability in general. When we're talking about domestic violence, now we're talking about a whole different subset of men or type of men. But to kind of piggyback off of something that Makai said, and to draw this all together, mental health, for men, we have to get to a point where it is normalized. Like, just to have a conversation about mental health is normalized. One of the sometimes first things I mention to some of my clients is that there is not a single person walking on this earth that doesn't have some sort of mental health challenge. Not one. Not a single one. It's virtually impossible. Including myself, right? there are things that I am challenged with. I'm just very aware of them, and have to work to navigate around it. Otherwise, I can imagine some of the toxic mess that I would spill, so on and so forth. So everyone none of us grew up in perfect homes, and we're carrying something.
Yes.
We got from our upbringing, and if not home, it was something from school. We spent more hours in school than we did at home at certain points in time. And so, yeah, we all grow up with some sort of baggage, and I'm just going to lump that into the mental health bag.
Right.
And so it's really normalizing that, that we all have some sort of behavioral health diabetes. Everyone on this panel probably has something, behaviorally speaking, that may never go away, that you just have to manage. You have to figure out how to manage, how to fight through, whether it's thoughts, whether it's the way I respond, whatever it is, it's something. So it's really normalizing that. And if we can get there, then we can start to move towards like being accountable for it. Right.
Yes.
Like once it can be recognized, acknowledged, okay, let's take out the shame part out of it, and hey, here it is. Like, now I can work on it, and I can hold myself accountable for it. I can tell my kids, which I do, some of the challenges that I have and how I'm working through it, so that my children know that it's nothing to be ashamed of. They just have to work through it.
So honesty too. I
Go ahead.
And I don't think a lot of people are. I do want to say something, because Patrice, you really brought up a great question. I don't think that there is enough, and I would love to see more Black women really speaking life into Black men right now, because I think there is an attack on Black men at the moment, especially on social media. So many things going on that are trying to divide us, and it's almost like we're trying to compete for some type of spiritual rank almost, and it's separating us. Like it's crazy. And I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I think you guys as women have a role to play in our evolution and just nurturing and protecting us as men, you know. So I'm really glad that you brought that up, because I think that it's so timely and it's important, and we're not seeing enough of that right now in our community.
I think society have created an environment where and Patrice and Sameka, you guys can probably piggyback on that. Being in the space of media and entertainment, from my perspective, from my lens, what I see and what I think is, if a man decides to open up to females, to a woman or whatever the case may be, she puts that man in a category of being soft,
or she'll throw it back on him.
There you go. And I think that prevents men from opening up, because now in his mind, this is how she's seeing him. You see what I'm saying? And he doesn't feel safe. Like Stacey says here in the comments, men should open up to the right person when dealing with challenging situations. The question is, how do you know it's the right person without that person throwing it back in your face, like I said, Makai? Or you're put in that category of being soft.
Yeah, and to kind of, boomerang this in a way, and I'm very big on etiology. When we look at the roles that Black women have played, especially in the Black community, I think it seems like there's a trend towards a little bit of backlash, right? Like, so all of the years we're talking about, late 70s, going to the 80s, going to the 90s, of a lot of just single Black women raising kids on their own. Dads are gone, and that's a whole nother conversation, right? Like drugs, jail, like the way that our community has been ravaged, and this idea that men aren't taking care of things, right? And now we're kind of moving out of that phase, but these Gen Xers and some of the millennials were raised in this situation, and so these girls that were coming up are now women now are just very right. I have to, because this is what I see my mom do. Mm-hmm. And so it's me. And so so when, us as men are looking for that, that level of empathy, so on and so forth, that also could be hard to find, just based on, again, going back to the socialization, some of the ideology, and it's sad, right? But we have to figure out how to, stop this turnstile from turning, right? Yeah. And the men will backlash, and so right now we just have this kind of back.
It's
a tug of war.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think, don't get me wrong. I very much love a independent, ambitious, sophisticated woman.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. I don't like that I don't need a man. You do. And I need you too.
Yeah.
Right? We need each other. And that's where the disconnect is, where we need to come together. It's not, I can do, we need each other.
I think we can change some mindset on this program because you guys are empowering me right now. Like we can just keep talking. I'm just saying.
You feel stronger, Ezzy.
Oh, I still do.
Rightfully so, and you should. But there is something that you said, Nathaniel. And I'm like, if I was watching, if I was a viewer watching, I probably would have did a bunch of stars or whatever, or took that and set it aside. But this is definitely something that we can reflect on, something that we could take away, digest, dissect. But you said women want men that are different from the way they're raising their sons.
Mm-hmm.
Just if we let that sink in for a moment, I can see the connection between not updating our roadmaps. I can see the connections between learning how to show grace. I could see the connections between, repeating generational and intergenerational traumas. But women want men that are different from the way they raise their sons. So if we talk about a woman that maybe is in a space where they're doing it all on their own, so life is a little challenging right now. I may not be the mom that I desire to be because it's really hard. My parenting reflects that. My child grows up one way. And then once I am maybe in a space where I'm healed more or have the support or the resources, now I can see things differently. And it can appear to be a mismatch. But that was really a powerful statement. And it has layers for me. Mm-hmm. And it's a point that it's an invitation for us all to kind of reflect on not only what we request of others, but what are we doing to help shape the generation for the future adults that will then become partners.
You were so right about that. It's for real, and like Sameka, like you said, there are layers to this, right?
Yes.
And me, I'm always playing devil's advocate when we have these conversations a lot. A flip side to this is, the child that these ladies are expecting to raise, when the kid is looking at the person that she's dating, is a total opposite. That sets another trend. Mm-hmm. Because
mm-hmm.
a lot of these ladies right now, they love that thug life of parents.
Can we say some ladies?
Some ladies. Some ladies.
We won't overgeneralize.
We won't generalize. We're not generalizing. My bad. Choice of words. But some ladies, they love that different type of a parent, that street like a parent, so to speak. But at the same time, you expect your child to be a certain way, which is confusing the young mind, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. Because what do I believe? Do I believe what you say and what you tell me, or do I believe what I see you loving on or giving attention to?
Right.
And that is why I basically asked, what are we as women doing? Mm-hmm. How can we better support as well? Because I cannot expect certain things from you, but I'm told, I'm hands off, right? So either I want to be your ride or die. What Makai said about what he feels with women, I'm like, I am there for you. And, and if the women give you trouble, just send me their number and stuff and I'll handle it. You know where they live, but I'm like, it is sad to hear that that's the way I'm expecting. And it's rough because we're talking about mental health in general and the stigma behind it. Okay.
Right.
And we're talking about being Black and having to deal with mental health. And then we're talking about men. I'm like, you're at the back of the line and it's messed up back there.
It's messy. It is very messy.
Yeah.
It is very messy to break through these barriers of the toxic masculinity, the racism, the implicit bias, right? That we experience. Like getting medical care. I'm not going to get the same medical care. I was very intentional about making sure I got found a Black male doctor for that reason. The list kind of goes on and on. So there is a lot. It can feel very overwhelming sometimes, but I do like to start at, my foundation is self-awareness. Become aware of what you're thinking, how you're thinking, what you're feeling. Even with men, I sometimes have to start with just like a basic feelings chart. Like, let me introduce you to, I'm disappointed, right? I don't have to be angry, but let me just acknowledge that you didn't show up on time, Patrice. That disappointed me, right? As opposed to me being so angry with you for not showing. I can't even express that because all I know is anger. So really getting to like really fundamentals. I'm disappointed. I'm feeling really discouraged. I'm feeling really inadequate, which is a very difficult thing to admit. Right. I'm feeling really insecure about this relationship right now because of how I see how you are doing things with others. Just to be able to have these fundamental, like these just the emotional language to express, because everything is anger. Everything I just said all comes out in anger, and it just leaves you women feeling like, the hell is wrong with him? Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
And on the flip side, a guy that is not just us, because women can do a better job at that as well. Women can sometimes come across as often tell men, like, listen to what they're saying in their scolding. Like, what do you get out of that? Like, right? Because women can come across as very scolding. I told you this, blah, blah, blah. And it's all out of love, but it's hard to see that love in the presentation of it, because you're also not providing very much description of how you are feeling or what you experience emotionally. Right. And this is not all the time. And this is not all women. So let me I'm very mindful of.
Before you get in trouble with me and I have to go island style on you.
Well, we don't want to overgeneralize.
Okay. Don't let the accents
experiences that I've observed.
That kind of aligns with what Stacy dropped in the chat, huh?
Yes.
She said some men are toxic as hell. They all need to self-assess, both men and women. And I agree with that, because what you just described, Nathaniel, even in the way a woman talks or scolds, I could see where a man's rebuttal would be, you're not my mother. You're not my mother. Like, my mother lives so-and-so. And it's not received out of a space of, I love you, I'm concerned about this. It feels more parental. And sometimes that ends up being a discrepancy with couples. It's like you're nagging, or you're always on me. It's not received the right way.
Correct. Like, children don't understand when, my mother yoked me up from being in the street. I told you to get from out the street, right? That's her way of saying, I'm scared for your safety.
Right.
Like, this is scaring the hell out of me that a car can hit you, but it's not expressed that way. Right. And that's what we're used to. So you're right. We get in these relationships and it's that trigger. We go, and it's not even, you're not aware that that's what it is. Like, it's this recreation of my mom. You just recognize you're automatically just irritated, mad, or and then respond off of that.
That was deep. Yeah, that was deep.
But guy's like, what's going on? Right? He's like, whoa, yeah. And as Nate mentioned, there's so many layers to this, and taking accountability. Are you acknowledging and then taking accountability? Because if you don't acknowledge, you can't fix anything. Both men and women. But again, there are more layers in terms of mental health, being a man. There's
Yes.
more to work through.
Yeah. I appreciate that 3 levels that was given, the illness, the health, and the wellness, because we all want to strive to mental wellness, right? Mental illness all the time may turn people off, but we know it is this spectrum. So I appreciate you all laying it out that way so that maybe it's more digestible. Like, I don't want to wait until I'm totally ill before I tend to something. If I want to remain in this space of optimum wellness, let me take care of my health. A question that I have for the two of you, if you have any thoughts around this, because sometimes there is a shortage of male providers, Black male providers. Have you two encountered any community groups, any circles? Because sometimes there is healing that takes place in community. So have you found anything virtually or in your area that you would recommend for men to just check out as a starting point, or as a place where they can begin to seek this type of support?
A safe space.
Yeah.
I would tell everyone watching and all the men, check out the Better Days Project. The Better Days Project was created because this type of resource was not provided in my community. Right? I didn't have any access to this, or I didn't have places where I was being educated about mental health and the things that I was struggling with at a young age. And there's still a lack of that in communities. So I think that's why I, spearheaded my own initiative in order to be able to be that resource and that vessel for communities that was missing for me coming up as well. So that's what I would say. And we're building, and we're hoping to really grow and get a lot more young people involved into this type of work and create spaces where we can just be.
That's deep, man. I appreciate that for real. Absolutely.
Makai, a follow-up question. Do you work virtually? Like, do you have platforms, or do you have gatherings?
Yeah, we just hosted a men's mental health Instagram live conversation yesterday.
Okay.
We brought in 3 different dynamic artists and mental health advocates, and we explored faith, music, and mental health. It was a powerful conversation. It is still on our Instagram live. You can check it out at the Better Days Project, THE.Better Days Project. You can go out and check out the conversation. It was very, very powerful. So we are doing these things virtually as well. And that space, showing up in the digital space, is very important.
Nice. Good stuff.
Definitely. Again, Makai, I so appreciate the work that you're doing. One of the, I guess, resource that I can point men to is Psychology Today. It's a website, literally psychologytoday.com. And practitioners who have groups, you can actually do a search for men's groups. And there are quite a few practitioners that actually have male-centered groups on there. So that to me would be the best resource to go to. And, when I do my groups, again, I typically do advertise through that as well. So
good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Anything else, ladies?
I just want to say thank you again to you gentlemen. I mean, just seeing some handsome Black men on the show tonight and hearing from you was great. It was necessary. I was very excited to hear the conversation today, because as Sameka said, it's like we haven't walked in your shoes. I can tell you all about women all day. You don't want to hear any more about women. But I know Sameka and even Stacy, she's not here, but we support our Black men wholeheartedly. And so my thing is to encourage every other woman to do the same. And thank you for taking the time to come talk to us today.
absolutely. And if I could leave with one thing, and this is really for the men out there, listen, you can both be emotionally intelligent and a man at the same time.
Absolutely.
One of the most challenging things, and I think I put this up earlier this month, talk about things that are difficult for a man. Like, if we want to do the difficult thing, do your mental health work. That is very difficult. Do the work. There are resources, and just like any other practice out here, medical practice, yeah, you may run into somebody that you just don't gel with, and that's okay. I don't gel with everyone that or people. Everyone doesn't gel with me that comes to my office, and that's okay. I want them to go someplace that that they identify as helpful, but don't stop on the first one. Well, I tried, because that's what I hear a lot. Well, I tried. That person didn't work out. How, Aaliyah, first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and do what? Try again. So make it happen. We need you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
One thing I would kind of just end off with is Black men, you are valuable. You are needed. I'm proud of you. I see you. Keep going, King. You are here for a purpose. I want to emphasize that. You are here for a purpose. We all have a purpose. God planted a seed inside of you. It's up to you to go out and plant it. Stop waiting on it. A lot of mental health struggles and issues comes from lack of purpose and people not walking in that. So I want to encourage and emphasize that. That is very important. And getting close to God, getting close to source is a key important part that people do not talk about enough when we discuss mental health. So that is all I would say. And I'll leave off with that. This was great. And it was really just a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. And of course, before you leave, Makai, how can they follow you?
Yes, this is our website. You can follow me on Instagram at the@betterdaysproject. And then my personal Instagram is @byMakai, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Makai Hill. Yeah.
And the website is thebetterdaysproject.org. He's on the screen. Make sure you follow him, guys. Check him out. I'm gonna swim back to you, Mr. Nathaniel. How can they follow you as well?
Sure. You can find me on IG. It will be handle is a new purse. So ANEWPERS. That is my handle. I do throw out some mental health tips every now and again. I got quite a few on there, and then you'll see the link to my website on there as well. So yes, I appreciate the platform and being on here. And just I know I said a final note. I'm gonna say one more final note. Because I'm not a sugarcoat kind of therapist. Change is difficult. It is. Regardless of what it is that you want to change, change is probably one of the most difficult things people go through. But coming out on the other side of it, you'll look back and like, wow, I'm so glad I did that. And so I definitely encourage you to make a decision that you will say, you know what, it's about to be a little rough, but I'm so glad I did that. You will thank yourself. Look at yourself 5 years from now and say, you know what? I'm so glad I did that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Patrice?
At Jam Across Georgia, which is my nonprofit organization for mental wellness, supporting mental wellness for women and girls. So check me out and come and interact and engage with us. And obviously I do serve majority women, and I do have some words for them with what their marching orders with how we are going to support the men in our lives. So
yes,
looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Sameka?
Yes, I appreciate everyone for, again, coming through. It's committedtothejourney.com. Remain committed on all social media. And I encourage everyone, even if you missed this live, if it comes across your feed, like, let it play. Hit play, pass it along to your brother, your father, your uncle, anyone. And then as women, let's take a listen. And it's an invitation for us all to do a better job of taking care of ourselves and each other. Okay, so peace and blessings to everyone, and thank you for joining.
Absolutely. And of course, Stacy's not here with us, but guys, you can actually check out at xcations.com/Stacy Banton. And of course, she's still watching us here live as well. And of course, guys, you can follow me on all social medias at Ezzy Spotlight. That's EZZY Spotlight. My website is ezzyspotlight.com. Patrice, I want to thank you so much for inviting Mr. Nate and Mr. Makai to join us here today. They were a great addition to this conversation. We really, really appreciate it. And gentlemen, we want you back. I want you back. I need you back.
Stay in contact, definitely.
And also too, if you're doing something here locally as well, and you need my support in any way, shape, or form, despite my super hectic schedule, of course, you can reach out to me, or you can reach out to Patrice, and I'll be more than happy to come support you, because Sameka and I have been doing this for years now. Even when I had my radio station, on a radio show, and we turned this into its own segment. We only did a small window during my radio show many years ago, and we saw the importance of having this conversation extensively. So we decided to just make it its own segment and do it once a month for an entire hour. And so we've been doing this now for about 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
For a long time. So again, thank you for your contributions again, Sameka, of course, and gentlemen, I really would love to continue this dialogue, and of course to connect with you guys physically as well here in Atlanta. For those of you watching us, we do this every fourth Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and again, we invite you to join us here live. Of course, this is an informal conversation about mental health. Of course, this month we're speaking about men's mental health, but of course, if there is some other conversations or any different topic that you want to discuss with us, or you want to share a comment or question about mental health, you can reach out to any one of us, or of course you reach out to me or any one of us here as well to have this conversation. Don't forget, every fourth Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do this live. So we invite you to join us and to invite everyone else to join us as well. Until next time, I'll see you on the next one. We're out of here. Gentlemen, don't leave. I'm going to talk to you guys behind the scenes, all right?
The Real Goddess is available on Amazon. Get your copy today.
No matter who does what in this town, you always see the good in them.
Lady Mars Boss is here.
These bottles are going to go down to 16 ounces.
But it's about what is our potential?
Right.
And our potential, we can take it up 2 notches.
You don't come across women who feel threatened by you.
That's their problem.
Showcasing the hidden gems and more. Ezzy Spotlight. Very informative and entertaining.